Alright YouTube, today we're going to be doing the second part of our honey ale. We're going to actually be doing what's called racking, which means to take the beer off of the sediment that has collected in the bottom of our bucket. We're going to add the honey to it and put it back for a secondary fermentation. So to get started today, we're going to actually need to thin out this honey a little bit so that it can mix with the beer easily. We can't stir the beer, so we need to put this into the carboy first. We're going to thin it out a little bit, and then we're going to rack the beer on top of it, and that will cause it to mix together. So we've got a little bit of water here. Heat it up. We're not going to heat it up too much. We don't want to heat this honey at all. We still want the raw honey. We just really want to thin this out so that it can mix easily with the beer. We're choosing a privet honey for this beer recipe today. This is one of my favorite honeys, and I look forward to making it with this honey every year. So basically we've sanitized this pot, we've sanitized the measuring cup, the spoon, and the thermometer. So everything that's touching our beer and everything that's touching our ingredients today has been sanitized. We're just going to try to get as much honey out of here as we can. This is 3 pounds of honey. We've probably got, I guess, about a cup of water here, just enough to thin it out. Like I said, we don't want to heat this really. We're just trying to get the water warm enough just to get this honey suspended in the solution. Like I said, we can't really stir the beer, so we need to thin this honey down so that it will mix easily with the beer. It's still quite thick. So I'm going to sit here and stir it for a minute and try to get it incorporated with this water. We might actually have to add a little bit more water if it doesn't mix in well. We don't really want to add too much water. We're not trying to water this down, but we are trying to dissolve this honey into the water. So we just need to do how much ever it's going to take. Still kind of thick. Nice sugar syrup here. I don't think we'll add too much more water to it. Oh, it smells good. We're right about 100 degrees. We don't want to go much over 100 degrees. We don't want to destroy any of the beneficial properties of this honey. We don't want to break down any of the enzymes or anything like that. We want it to be raw honey. So anything under 100 degrees is fine. The bees actually will heat the honey. You know, sometimes the hive inside gets 100, 110 degrees. So this is no warmer than the bees would have this. So we're not in danger of ruining the honey at all. Okay, it looks like it's pretty much all dissolved in there. We've got a nice sugar solution. Next thing we're going to do is put this in our carboy. Okay, so once we have our honey solution thinned down a little bit, we're going to sanitize our carboy, sanitize a funnel, and we're going to take our honey syrup and we're going to pour it into our carboy at the bottom. This way when we rack our beer on top of it, it's mixing itself together. We won't have to stir it. Alright, next, you want to get your bucket of beer out of your storage place, your closet or your cool dark place, your basement, whatever. Be very careful not to shake this up, not to disturb it as much as you can, because in the bottom of this bucket there's a nice 1-inch layer of old yeasts and different kind of coagulants that have flocked to the bottom. We're basically trying to get this liquid off of that into our carboy. So basically, very carefully, you're going to take your beer and you're going to bring it to a table, put it higher than your carboy because we're going to actually siphon this down. We're going to open this baby up, and we actually have beer. I can smell it. It's delicious. Careful not to disturb this too much. And there we have beer, some yeast and stuff floating around the top. No big deal. Smells delicious. So now what we need to do is we need to get this beer on top of this honey with as little disturbance as possible. So we're going to take our auto siphon. This is the 5-gallon size auto siphon. Very easy. Give it a couple pumps to get all the air out of the lines. And basically we're just going to siphon this beer down onto this honey solution. And as you can see, if you look down here, it's kind of making a swirling motion. We have our hose in the bottom, and as the beer is getting poured in there, it's kind of making a swirling motion. That's getting our honey stirred into the beer solution real well. And basically we're just going to sit here and wait while this siphons down into there. And then we're going to put an airlock on it, and then we're going to let it ferment for 2 more weeks. So let's finish siphoning this beer, and we'll show you what's left in the bottom of this tub. Okay, so once you have your beer racked on top of the honey here, you're going to wind up with a 5-gallon jug of beer. It smells awesome. Of course, this is uncarbonated. We need to let this ferment for 2 more weeks, and then we're going to bottle carbonate it, and it'll be ready to drink in another month or so. So what we're going to do, once we get it racked into here, we're going to cork this thing off. We're going to re-sanitize our airlock, put it on. Again, we'll fill up our airlock to the line with water, cap it off, and we're going to put this back into a cool, dry place for another 2 weeks. Back in the closet, it'll bubble a little bit more as the honey ferments and makes the beer a little stronger. And once the ale yeast reaches the alcohol percentage that it will die off at, all the rest of the sugars in here it'll be honey basically. So we'll have a nice residual taste of honey in our beer when it's finished. As far as what's in the bucket, you siphon off just as much until you get to that yeast cake at the bottom. You don't want any of that in your beer as much as you can help it. We want to get a little bit of it, not a big deal, but we want to leave as much of that nasty as we can. It's called trube. Pigs love it. Something that you can definitely throw in their trough and give to them as a treat. They'll tear it up. So other than that, we'll see you guys again in 2 weeks when we're going to bottle this, and then we'll have to wait 2 more weeks to drink it. So thanks for watching, YouTube. Be on the lookout for part 3.